What is up, guys? It is Jake from Team Insanity. Today I'm going to be bringing you a review on the Geo series. Now, I have shot a Geo 3. I haven't actually owned a Geo 3. Own a Geo 3.1 with the normal bolt and the IB. And I'm also going to be talking about the Geo 3.5, which I've also used several times. So I'm going to get down into it. First off, of course, you get the awesome Plain Eclipse packaging. Extra bolt, I believe this is the normal Geo tip. Get the Plain Eclipse manual, full color, everything you're going to need to know in it, cool beans, and then you get the cool Allen keys that everyone likes, and then you also get the spare parts kit and some lube, and I don't know, that's about it. Basically, I mean, it's packaging, hard case, cool. I don't use cases that often. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Now, this is what everyone cares about, is the actual Geo 3. Or 3.1 or 3.5. I'm going to get down into it. The 3 obviously has the macro line that comes out of the Pops ASA and goes into the regulator and has different grips. The 3.1 now integrates what the LV1 had at the time and goes into the tube going halfway through the grip. I should do it on this side, halfway through the grip, and then going through into the regulator, all that fun stuff, the extra grips. And then the 3.5 went to the IV system with the cool toolless disassembly, even though you can get this out without said tool, as I will show you right now. This is without a tool. As long as you don't use an Allen key to tighten it down, you can get the bolt out. I shoot this all the time without, actually I'll just hand tighten it. This is how I tighten it up. So you still don't need a tool, you just have to turn it. So it's still toolless. Same thing on the Geo 3. So, and the 2.1 and the Geo 2 and pretty much every other Geo that I know of. So basically, let me get down into it. Sorry if I sound all nasally and everything. I've been sick for a while. So I'm just gonna sort of try to power through this video for you guys. Get the Shaft 4 barrel. As you may or may not know, I am not a fan of the Shaft 4 barrel. I think it's garbage. I truly do think it is. It is garbage to me. I'm not impressed with it. I don't like the Shaft 4 barrel compared to what Dye was putting out on their barrels, the Dye Ultralight system. Dye Ultralight system kills it. The Bob Long barrel kills it. The Empire barrels kill it. Every other barrel from I mean, it's the reverse thread, whatever. The only reason why I've kind of used this is just for looks, is just because it all matches and is all anodized together. If I were to go in and use this in a tournament, most likely won't be using the barrel. To me, I don't know what it is, what their honing process was with the Shaft 4 barrels. I used the CSR barrel, and I've used the CS1 barrel. We have a review on the CS1 actually, so go check that out. And we have an overview of the CSR. We have a walkthrough at World Cup. So if you guys want to check that video out, go right ahead. So basically, I'm not a big fan of it. I find that it's inconsistent, and even if I match my board of paint, I don't like it. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. I really haven't ever really liked it. It's just me, and it's not just me. For some reason, DJ, one of the guys that helps coach us, doesn't like it. I mean, a lot of other people that have owned this barrel for some reason around us and here in Michigan that I know of really puts other barrel systems on it. I see a lot of Stellas go on this, a lot of boomsticks go on this, a lot of the shift kits, I think. I see a lot of extra barrels go on it. That's just sort of what happens. I don't know, I just don't like it. Now, it will work. It's not like if you buy it, you have to go buy a new barrel. It's perfectly fine. It's just my preference. I feel like the boomsticks and the ultralights and the Stellas, even the the Deadly Winds barrels, they're just on ball, on ball, on ball, on ball, on ball. The honing is just 100%, and I just love it. I love those barrels. Feed neck, it's going to hold your hopper. I mean, what can I say? This is a $1,500 gun, or I don't know if it came in at $1,250 when it retailed. I can't really remember. Same thing with the grips. Plain Eclipse ergonomics, as you guys may know, is not my favorite. It's not that they're bad. Ergonomics and the feel of guns are all personal preference, okay? Let me just tell you that right now. So I may not like it as much as, say, the Empire Vanquish or you know, the DM15 or the M2, or I might not like it as much as some of the MacDev guns or anything, you know, the Bob Long guns, any other of the high-end guns. And for some reason, I don't like the LV1. I hate the LV1, and I think it's just because I don't like the stacked tubed poppets. For this, now it is basically the same frame. I just think it's the stacked tube poppet I just can't get over. I look at it and I'm like, oh my god, I hate this gun. So, and not saying that it doesn't shoot right, I get it in my hands, and for some reason I'm just like, it feels like the Antichrist in my hands. This is the same exact thing, but sorry, it feels alright, you know, it's not bad. It has really, really good ergonomics on it. It's nice. Same thing with the 3.5. This is the same as the 3.5, but the frame back here is long. It's a little bit longer than what I don't know, like I get it, and it's just it feels a little bit longer and a little bit fatter. Like it doesn't, I don't feel like the frame needs to be as long, like not wide, but long. It feels like it's longer. The front regulator grip, all that, this feels awesome. I love it up here, but then I sort of feel that in the back, like when I hold the shocker, and I mean the shocker's, it's, you know, half the size of this gun, but when I hold the shocker and you know, my Vanquish and that kind of stuff, I'm used to being able to just hold on to that grip like no one's business. This, I mean, I do have baby hands. This I can still hold on to and get a good grip. It feels comfortable, but it's just, I don't know, it's just, it feels long. It feels a little bit but it ain't bad. The other thing that I have a little bit of a gripe on is, like, I play an Eclipse's board, I'll get to that in a second, but I wish the screen came flush. I wish all of their screens, and the CS1s, the CSRs, all that stuff, I wish it came flush to the grips, okay? So there's like a little cutout and the screen sits in. The screen, the display sits in. And the reason why I wish it just sat flush is because when I'm holding it, I can feel almost like the cave on the inside. That's just me really getting really nitpicky. When I hold the shocker, that sits flush. When I hold the M2, completely different board, completely different side. But still, when I hold even the Vanquish is on the front of the grip. It sits flush. It doesn't sit in, okay? I like it when it's nice. I like everything really nice and flush. Plain Eclipse doesn't have any grip screws or anything anywhere underneath, so your thumbs aren't going to rub on anything, so your hands aren't going to rub on anything. Very comfortable, very nice. But that's just the one thing that I notice. Like, if I'm sitting here, I'm just like, ooh, there's the board right there. I can feel the board right there. You're not going to accidentally turn it off. The buttons are awesome. Like I said, buttons are fantastic. But like I said, I feel it. Just get a 3.5 or a 3 or a 3.1 in your hands and just sit there and feel it. It sort of has like this little indent to it, and I feel it. I'm like, oh yeah, the board's sitting right there in the middle of my hand when I'm rolling my gun. Don't really notice it when I'm playing that much. When I'm walking around and I'm holding it and I'm fisting the gun and I'm really holding it and I'm walking around, I'm like, yep, board's right there in the middle of my palm. Yep, feels really good. Yeah, it just kind of bothers me just a little bit, just because I'm used to having just a straight flush screen that I can hold on to. Everything is just one unit. So that's the one. If I had to nitpick like that much, obviously I'm nitpicking that much into it. Because I'm just spewing out my thoughts so you guys know. I just wish that would sit flush. Not a big deal breaker. I'm not saying don't go buy the gun because of that. That's just me, and it just sort of, I feel it. So, but like I said, the buttons, you're obviously not going to turn the gun off. There's no way that's going to happen. The board, I think, is an awesome board. If it was on an Ego 11, okay, I think the Ego 11, the Geo 2.1, all those guns from 2011, 2012, good job playing an Eclipse. You guys haven't done shit since then. So, I kind of want to see a little. I don't know what I'm asking for in a board. But with Dye coming out with an awesome board, with an awesome display like that, Lux coming out with a really nice display, the Shockers have a really decent display, but it feels like to me, since like I can turn it on, it's all like, I don't know, it's like graphic-y. It almost looks cheap to me now. I mean, you're not going to really be able to see it in this shot, but I mean, it's sort of just how it turns on, it just looks like a little bit like outdated, I guess you can say, to where the Shocker and the Vanquish and all that, I don't know, I mean, I guess they're sort of the same, but you know, they haven't really updated their board for a while, and I think their board, I mean, it's great, it works fine, you're going to be able to program everything, it's really easy to use, but I wish they would update the graphics a little bit more to where you can get like solid numbers, where it wasn't just, you know, little dots on a LCD screen kind of thing. That's just me. I'd like to see a little bit of improvement in the board. Obviously, the CSR basically or the CS1, I didn't really see like that big of a difference, but it's a board, whatever. Now, getting down into the Pops ASA. The Pops ASA, I mean, it's fantastic. Okay, Jack Woods figured out how to do it right. It doesn't take much to push the pin into the tank. It's very, very easy to use. I have found on the Ninja Pro V2 regs, it's actually a lot harder to turn on than what it is with just the normal Ninja regs or just the normal pin, tanks. With normal pin tank, it is that easy. Pro V2, I don't know if it's the ball or how it just sits, but you kind of really gotta give it a little bit extra. That's not like I'm, you know, don't go out and buy it because it's a little bit harder to turn on your Pro V2 reg. Nah, not really, just sort of bringing that up. So I don't know if they have any plans for that in the future, if they can find a way around that Ninja V2 reg, because a lot of the paintball community shoots Ninja tanks. I mean, it's a lot of the paintball, I mean, a majority of the paintball uses Ninja tanks, so, including myself. So, not that big of a deal, but still just bringing it up because it's a review, want to let you know. But overall, the ergonomics and I mean, it's comfy, you know, just I wish the board was placed a little bit different. The ASA is great, clamping feed neck, I mean, everything that you want in a high-end gun. Now the eyes and the eye cover, basically everything was the same as the Geo3. The Geo3, I actually like the ergonomics of it a little bit more. I just like that little thin regulator that you can just wrap tape on and make the tape as thick as you want or as thin as you want. I really like that about the Geo3. Now with the Geo 3.5, it comes with the IV core. Now we're going to sort of start getting down into the nitty gritty, into the internal. The Geo 3 and the Geo 3.1. The Geo 3.1, I wish Plain Eclipse when it came out with it was a pointless gun because they released the 3.5 right after and it killed the resale value of the 3.1 and the Geo 3 at the same time. It just sort of, this was like an odd man gun. That was one reason why I sort of purchased this gun. Just because I got it on a decent deal, it was cool, have the IV core, all that fun stuff, so it shoots the same as a 3.5. So this gun you can get to shoot the same as a Geo 3.5. The only difference I'm missing is the back cap for the debolt disassembly. That's the only thing that I'm missing that the 3.1 doesn't have on the 3.5. You can purchase the IV core for the Geo 3. I mean, I'm pretty sure it works in the Geo 2.1 as well, and it just makes a difference. If you're going to buy a Geo under the CS1, buy the IV core. Or if you're going to be buying it used, make sure that it has the IV core. If not, get ready to buy one because it does make a difference, okay? When the Geo 3 came out, I wasn't like that excited about it because I was shooting a DM, I was shooting a Bob Long, and I was shooting a Vanquish. Or not actually a Vanquish at the time, I was shooting a Lux at the time. And then I shot the Geo 3 and everyone's like, yeah, Geo 3, yeah, so smooth. And I went there and I shot the Geo 3 and I'm just like, huh, you call this smooth? Like I sat there and I laughed. I'm like, this is a joke, right? Like you guys are joking? Well, all those Geo 3 people went from a Geo 2.1 to a Geo 3. And from the Geo 2.1 to the Geo 3, there was a significant increase of smoothness. It was nice, but in terms of smoothness compared to a Lux, compared to the DMs, compared to the Bob Longs, I mean, it wasn't right there at the time. So that was one reason why I didn't buy a Geo 3. I shot one, I used one at a tournament, and I reviewed the Geo 2.1 just for giggles, and then that's when I shot the Geo 3, and I was like, oh yeah, there is a difference, but it wasn't smoother than what all the other guns were getting put out as. With the IV core, that sort of leveled the playing field. It only took them, what, 2 years or something like that to actually put it out because they were focused on the LV1 at the time. Fair enough, gun's a fantastic gun. Still, but now when they released it, there was, you know, the DM15 was out. You know, you had the V-Com. You had all kinds of other guns out there. You had the Vanquish out there. There's all kinds of really good shooting guns out there. So it still wasn't the smoothest of the yard. But why do you buy the Geos? You buy it for the reliability. I have to say is that's what you do. You buy it for the reliability. I use this for Lone Wolf's big game when I think it was red, white, and blue. I can't remember. I just shot an astronomical amount of paint through it. I mean, I shot just a stupid amount of paint through it, like 4 or 5 cases without cleaning it. Something happened, I don't know, I drank a couple beers or whatever, and I threw it in my bag, and I just completely forgot about it and said, screw it. I went and opened it up for a paintball, for practice, and I pulled it out for practice, and it still was covered in paint and gunk and mud, and I mean, it was like covered in mud and dirt, and I was like, well, I didn't clean my gun, oops, and I'm like very anal about cleaning my stuff, and I'm just like, oops, well, it's a Planet Eclipse, we'll see how good the reliability is. And I took it out, and I probably shot another 3-4 cases through it, and with mud and dirt and crap all in it, and it shot phenomenal. Okay, and that is one reason why you buy the Geos, and that's one reason why you buy Planet Eclipse alone, is just the reliability of it. They're workhorses. I'm not saying that other guns can't do that, because I've done that to other guns, but that's just one reason why you buy a Geo. The IV core, same thing. I've used the IV core for 99.9% of the testing. I threw the normal Geo 3 bolt in there for just about half a case, just for shits and giggles. And you know, it shot nice. It was good, but it's not as nice as the IV core. And the IV core still has that reliability as all the other Planet Eclipse cores do. So you still get that reliability with that IV core, along with the rest of along with the rest of the Geo line. Same thing with the 3.5, and same thing with the Geo 3. They're just workhorses. You don't have to clean them every single day. But when I mean every single day, I mean every single day that you play, like after you're done playing, not like you have to wake up Monday through Friday and clean your gun. But you know what I'm saying. So it's not like that. So it's a workhorse of a gun. That's really one reason why you purchase the Geos along with the LV ones as well. Other thing that I want to get into, I'm going to go into my dislike. So my one dislike would be the barrel. I don't like it. Ergonomics is I mean, it's not the worst, but it ain't the best either. I felt a lot better in that price range, but again, when you get down to ergonomics, it's all personal opinion. Everyone's hands are different. Everyone likes different things. My other dislike is Planet Eclipse triggers. I hate Planet Eclipse triggers. They cheap out. I don't like them. Considering that we're using ramping on 90% of anything that we play now, but still, I don't like it. Compared to basically every trigger out there, I don't like it. Compared to the Vanquish trigger, the Axe trigger, the Bob Long triggers, the Die triggers, the Mac Dev triggers are kind of pretty shitty too. I mean, I'm trying to think of other high-end guns out there. I don't like it. I don't. The Luxes, I mean, even compared to the Luxes, even compared to all those guns, I don't like it. It feels cheap. They don't really put a ton. For me, I still play semi a lot, because Lone Wolf Paintball is a semi-automatic field, so you can go out there and play semi. Even though sometimes I don't, I put it on 10 ramping, but still, it ain't bad. But when I shot other triggers and I have better adjusting triggers in an $800 shocker than I do in this, you know, it just kind of gives me a little bit of a gripe. A lot of people aren't going to notice that. A lot of people aren't going to diss on the trigger. But for me, considering I own 14 guns, I do. One of the other cool things that the Geo has through the Geo 3, it was introduced in the Geo 3, went to the Geo 3.5, is this is the solenoid flow valve. So, same concept as the shocker, if you guys watch the shocker review. So there's this little itty bitty turn screw thingy on there. And so what that does is that controls how soft, how light your solenoid is going to be shooting. If you're shooting 15 balls a second, you're going to want to be putting more air through your solenoid to cycle that bolt. Your bolt, the shot might not be as soft, but you need that little bit extra, that little oomph, to actually, you know, shoot the balls consistently at the same, you know, get that plus or minus 5 on the chronograph, and get that 15 balls per second consistently. that is what you're going to get. You're not going to get as smooth of a shot. I mean, you're just using more air. Bolt has to come back faster. When the bolt has to come back faster, you get a little bit more barrel rise, a little bit more kick. Not obviously not that much, but you know what I mean. You get a little bit more. When you're using 10.2, you can turn it all the way down, or you know, whatever your 10.5, because you're using a lot less air than if you're using 12.5 or 15 balls a second. You're using less air, so you can adjust that as you go. My shocker, I only use the shocker on 10.2 or 10.5 now it is. So I have that basically turned down almost to nothing. I have it turned down almost all the way. That's just how I like it. I don't use semi on the shocker. I just don't. I have other guns for semi. Same thing with this one. Normally I turn this solenoid flow control all the way down, try to get it to the softest shot possible, and just I use it on, I don't really use this on semi. I've used it once on semi. Every now and then I want to, but then like I said, I start feeling the trigger and I'm like, ew, that's nasty. So, you know, normally I turn it down, use it in practice, that kind of stuff. Big games if I really wanted to. So that's something that's really cool that Plain Eclipse offers in their gun. Their eyes are fantastic. The detent system is fantastic. I mean, everything else, I mean, it's a solid shooting gun. Now what we're going to do is I'm just going to show you really quick how to clean the gun. It's very easy. You can skip the 5 seconds that I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to do the conclusion. Alright guys, so I'm just going to sort of breeze through this because there's really not much for you to do. So what you're going to do is you're going to unscrew the back, and or if you have the Geo 3.5, then you just click the little toolless bolt thing up. So like I said, you hand tighten it down. I'll show you, then you don't have to, then you don't actually have to get an Allen key or anything to pull it out. So basically this is your IV core assembly right here if you're looking at an IV core. Here is your stock core, just in case you're looking at something that is not a stock core, or if you are looking at the stock core. Basically minimal difference. It's really all in the bolt head. So if I push this bolt out, what you're going to do is just take your finger, push it out. This is what you're going to be looking at. I mean, not too much of a difference. This is the same exact can that's used. But yeah, this is really what you're looking at. It has more of a soft tip where this one doesn't. Different set of O-rings. They look very similar, but the back is also what's a little bit different. So I'm just going to put the normal core away. So I mean, it's done the same exact way. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is grab some type of rag or something like that, of that sort, and just wipe down all the old gunk on it, basically. So like I said, just pull this out. There's no unscrewing or anything like that. Like there's not anything, there's no threads or anything that you have to unscrew. So it's very basic. Very easy to do. So after you're done wiping it down, you can get your Plain Eclipse grease. Don't forget as well, there's also an internal O-ring on the inside of here. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it. Might be able to focus in on it. So they're right there. You guys can see that black O-ring on the inside. You want to make sure that you lube that. And as you can see, right up underneath of it, let me see if I can get my pinky. Right where my pinky is at, right there, that is where grease likes to sit and collect, and old dust and dirt and everything. So make sure that you get in there with your rag or whatever that you're using. I'm using just a hotel towel or a hotel rag. I like to steal these every time I go to a hotel. So just make sure that you put your rag in there and you move your finger around that O-ring to actually clean that O-ring out, as well as trying to get the rest of that ridge nice and clean. So I clean that ridge on the inside. So now, because you know, if you don't clean on the inside, you're not really going to be doing your bolt too much. There's a back O-ring back here. So once after you get it wiped off, like I said, don't forget that internal O-ring. Take your lube of choice. I'm using Sleek and or Dow 33. There's a ton of Dow 33 equivalents. So there's Dow 33, there's Sleek, there's Smart Parts grease. This is the same thing. It actually says Smart Parts on it. There's Smart Parts grease. There is Dye Lube. There's all kinds of stuff. The hater lubes are different. If you're really experiencing a lot of bolt stick, you're doing something wrong. but you can throw some hater sauce on there in the wintertime. I haven't, and it's really, really cold outside, and I'm going to go play with this today, actually. So, I normally don't have an issue with bolt stick. Don't forget to lube the, basically, I made a whole, like, big gun maintenance show. So, if you guys don't know how to lube up O-rings or that kind of stuff, just basic stuff, I have a whole video on it. I have a whole video on how to clean guns, anything from a poppet to a spool. I have it all. We did a big long video on it. It's about 45 minutes long, but I do explain how to lube the O-rings. It's winter time, so I'm going to give it a little bit more than I normally do because it's going to be cold at the indoor field. So even though it is heated, I mean, you can only heat it so hot. I mean, it's such a big building. So I'm going to lube this back O-ring. And that is it. That is how you lube and take care of your Geo3 core. So overall, from the Geo3 to the Geo 3.5, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the Geo 3 and the Geo 3.1 first. Geo 3.1, like I said, odd guy out. They kind of made it to go, they kind of made this section right here. This whole top part is a Geo 3, that's all it is. This bottom part is an LV1. They made this to, they put this out to say, buy me, I'm Planet Eclipse. I made one change on the body of the gun, buy me. And a lot of people are like, ooh, new Planet Eclipse gun, let's buy it. It's shot exactly the same as the Geo 3. If you want to buy the 3.1 and you're not going to put an IV core in it, buy the Geo 3. Save yourself some money, buy the Geo 3. There's no point. This doesn't feel any better than what a Geo 3 does. Put them both in your hands, and unless if you're sitting there like, oh my god, this Geo 3 is fantastic, or this Geo 3.1, then go ahead and buy the Geo 3.1. I don't think it's not worth it to me. Now, I bought it because, like I said, I got a decent deal on it. When you go to the 3.5, that's when they made the bolt change. That's when they put the IV core in it. Same exact thing. The only difference was the little peep, the little bra strap, little disassembly for the bolt thingy-mabobber, right? So that was one of the only differences, that you can pull out the bolt. Cool, don't really need it, but it was a cool idea. That is when it changed. Now, I know a lot of people that have owned the original Geo 3 when they bought it new, put an IV core in it when it came out, and now it shoots like a 3.5. So again, if you don't, you can make your Geo 3 shoot like a Geo 3.5. So is it worth buying a 3.5? The 3.5 still have a decent used value. So is it worth buying a 3.5? That's up to you. I mean, that's up to if you want those ergonomics. That's up to you if you want that little beep, little bolt disassembly piece. To me, it's not really worth it. You know, you don't really need to. That's why I got the Geo 3.1 with the IV core. This shoots the same as a Geo 3.5, 100%. And this will shoot the same as a Geo 3.1 that came out way before it. And that's just the beast of it. Now, that's one really cool thing about backwards compatible parts with Planet Eclipse, is that, you know, if other than the CSR, say they came out with like another Geo like this, most likely their bolt will most likely be able to fit into it. Or the CS1, for instance. But I think they're going to build off the CS1 platform. I think this Geo platform is pretty much over for right now. So, but still, I think it's a solid platform. It's very reliable. It's an awesome gun. But like I said, for me, this is not the first gun that I grab out of my gear bag. I think it's an awesome gun. It's pretty. It's blue and it's red. I've wanted a Superman color gun for a while, but overall, I mean, it's fantastic gun. I love it. It shoots fine. Not my #1 pick out of my gear bag, but still, if you're thinking about buying it, I think it's a fantastic gun. They shoot great. It's when you get down into the lower end Planet Eclipse guns where I kind of think there's a little bit better out there for the price point. So, guys have any questions? Message us. Do whatever you gotta do. Thanks for watching. Peace.